What's up, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Blakeney, aka Brandon Lee TV. Welcome back to the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. Now, we was off last week. We had to get that vacation in, man. We've been going hard with the content. Work hard, play hard, you dig? But y'all know we back with another banger, man, with so much going on in the transfer portal in the last week. So many announcements, so many big-time commitments. Is this the era? Is women's college basketball entering the era of super teams? Because what USC is doing, oh my goodness. LSU is reloading. Maryland might have the second best class in the country. Texas reeling them in as well. It's a whole lot of time that has passed and a whole lot of commitments that have gone down. Yukon has their next point guard. We're going to break it all down and look at the top 5 portal classes so far this season. Y'all, before we get into it though, make sure y'all hit that subscribe button for all the latest and the greatest and join our memberships. We got that exclusive content coming daily, weekly, whenever you need it. Now, let's get into it.
You are now locked into the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. Here is your host, Brandon Blakeney.
Now, the USC Trojans already had the number 1 recruiting class coming in, led by Kennedy Brown. They returned arguably the best player in the nation in Juju Watkins, but they just went crazy in the portal as well, y'all. Landing 2 of the most coveted transfers and 2 major impact players in Kiki Iriafen and Talia Von Ohoffen. Now, when talking about TVO, man, she's played 4 years at Oregon State. So we're talking about a very experienced, battle-tested, and mature guard joining this lineup. We saw the success that USC had with their grad transfers last year, man. So they have no problem acclimating new talent to this group, and TVO fills a big void, man. She averaged 10.7 points per game, 4.1 rebounds, and 5 assists with Oregon State this past season. Over her career, she averaged 12.3 points, 4.2 rebounds, and 3.8 assists. Well-rounded, man. 4 years playing in the Pac-12. She made the All-Pac-12 team twice, man. So she's decorated, she's coming in, and she's hyped, man. Shout out to Coach Lindsay getting it done. TVO had this to say. And talking to Coach Lindsay, they're exactly what I'm looking for in every way. And I was exactly what they needed. A combo guard that's a veteran, been through the wars over my career to help the freshmen out as they adjust to college basketball as everyone does. And this is a major get for the Trojans, man. She was one of the most highly touted transfers coming out. She's using that grad transfer year to replenish a lineup that's got to replace 2 shooters. I love the fit. I love what she's going to bring as a leader. And I think she's going to take a lot of pressure off of Juju as well, just being able to be a creator and a playmaker herself. But on top of that, if that wasn't enough, they land the 2025 potential number 1 draft pick in Kiki out of Stanford, yo. She averaged 19.4 points per game, 11 rebounds, and 2.3 assists, shooting 54.6% from the field. And you pair her with a defensive stopper like Ryan Marshall, who can also score, man, they might have the best front court in the nation next year, depending on how these 2 gel and just feed off of one another, man. But Kiki is extremely skilled, one of the most skilled post in the country. She can stretch the floor as well, knock down shots, and she's going to have a lot less pressure on her. She's coming from Stanford where, you know, she was the number 1 option next to Cameron Brink, and we know that they don't really rely on the guards, and they don't have the guard talent. We got to be honest that USC is boasting next year, man. I mean, they are going to have 5 players on the floor that can all dribble, pass, shoot, and score the basketball for the most part, man. They have 5 players that are going to be threats on the offensive side. You got a front court who we've seen Kiki play against another talented big in Cameron Brink, so we know she can make it work. We know she's a capable passer in the post, so I think she's going to unlock a lot for this offense with just her playmaking alone. But then you talk about the rebounds. Her and Marshall are going to be very difficult to keep off the glass. They bring in a special freshman class as well, number one class in the nation, to build that depth. I think Kennedy Smith is an immediate starter as well. And you think of a guard lineup, I mean, you got Juju, you got TVO, you got Kennedy Smith. Like, that is going to be impressive. You know, you look at I know they're bringing in a point guard, so it'll be interesting to see, you know, how Coach Lindsay really attacks this thing, because she can go a lot of different looks, but they are going to be talented. The Trojans have reloaded. The ladies of Troy, the women of Troy, are back, y'all, and Juju has more help than she had this past year. They are going to be the top contender to challenge South Carolina, and I really hope we get a regular season matchup, y'all, because the streets need it. Speaking of being challengers for that national championship, man, Yukon, I love what they did, man. They haven't landed a lot of talent, and they've lost some pieces that we thought may be there to provide depth. But landing the stud point guard to take Nika Muhl's spot out of the Ivy League, Caitlin Chen, out of Princeton, man. One of the most impressive players in the Ivy League last season. And you just talk about well-rounded. Another veteran, played 3 years at Princeton, managed the point guard position for them. Super, super efficient. She's 5'9". She's got nice burst. She plays the game the right way, man. She's going to come in. She plays defense as well. She guards tough. Last season, she won Ivy League Player of the Year. She averaged 15.8 points per game, 4.9 rebounds, and 4.9 assists and 3.5 rebounds, and a 1.3 assists per game, man. And in the postseason, that's where she really lit it up and showed that she can be a straight-up bucket when her team needs her to take it over. Through 8 games, she averaged 20.3 points per game, winning the Ivy League tournament. She won Most Outstanding Player in the past 2 seasons. She's led Princeton to the NCAA tournament 3 years straight, man, every year that she's been there. And it just shows you the type of competitor she is, first off, man. And I know people might say, oh, the transition from the Ivy League might be tough, but you look at it, and she really, really stood out in huge matchups. She put 24 on UCLA. She put 20 on Oklahoma. She put 31 on Villanova, and she scored 18 on Yukon this past season as well, man. So when the stage is brightest, she really comes to perform. And I think losing Nika Muhl was a big loss for them, having that veteran presence. I know they bring Isabel coming at the point guard position, but the experience that she can come in and provide, the leadership, get plugged in right away. You still have these young guards, KK Arnold and Ashlyn Shade, that are battle-tested. AZ Fudd will be back. Paige Beckers, of course. They got Sarah Strong in the fold, so a lot of talent, but not a whole lot of veteran presence in that backcourt. You know, you got Paige and AZ playing. AZ's going to be having to knock that rust off, though. She's missed a year. I'm sure that she will come back and be incredible. But you know, now they have a true point guard that can really feed these scores around this group. This was major, and it seemed like they were the favorite for her the whole time. Like I said, this one right here is more of quality over quantity, just thinking about how she fits with this group and what she's going to provide, because UConn's going to be loaded. I think they're going to be either the second or third. They're a top 3 team. You know, you can move them ahead of USC, maybe. You can move them behind, wherever you want to do. These are the top 3 teams, though. South Carolina, obviously, and then USC and Yukon, wherever you want to rank them. But they bring back talent, man. I'm excited to see. They have good size. They bring El Affy back. They also have Ice Brady coming back. So there's some youth that had to grow up really quick, and I think that will benefit this group this season. But Chen adding to this backcourt, man, you have a veteran leader who can score the basketball, who can really shoot it, who can get to her spots, and who can mainly create for others, man. I think she can come in and average like 5 assists with this group. We got to remember now what she was doing in the Ivy League and the teammates she had. None of them were WNBA players. No disrespect to them. Doctors, lawyers, and whatever else, sure. But not no WNBA players in that group. So Chen playing with the most talent she's ever played. I think this was a must-have recruit for UConn. And I think it sets them up to be extremely successful next year and make a really, really tough run at that national championship. Moving on, we're speaking of competing, national champions. We got to talk about last year's national champions, LSU and Kim Mulkey. We know that they lost a half their freshman class so far. We know Haley Van Lith didn't work out, and she bounced up out of there. So they were looking to retool that backcourt and add some depth. Now, you bring back Michaela Williams, Flau'jae Johnson. You also get Samaya Smith back. Anissa Morrow, of course. So you have a very strong core to build around, and I think they did a great job of providing depth and role players building around this roster. Coach Mulkey and her staff have gotten active adding some quality pieces, man. They signed a trio of proven transfers, and we're just talking about experienced players that have played all over the country, man. So first off, they landed Arizona's Kaylin Gilbert. They also landed Miami's Cheyenne Day Wilson and rival Mississippi State's Miracle Shepherd as well. Earlier in the year, we also mentioned in my previous video, they landed Jersey Wolfenberger as well. A talented wing that's going to provide size, scoring ability. That's a former McDonald's All-American, man. And Coach Kim Mulkey's jacked about this class. She says we could not be more excited to add Cheyenne, Kaylin, and Miracle to the LSU family. The three of them will add a combination of experience and depth on the perimeter for us and will bolster our roster to continue to compete at an elite level. Shepherd, the youngest of the bunch, spent one season at Mississippi State where she averaged 5.1 points per game, 2.1 assists, and 48 total steals, locking up on that basketball. She scored in double figures in 3 games with a career high of 14 points against Jacksonville State. And she also had 3+ steals in 6 games. They desperately needed defense. We saw Haley Van Lith getting cooked out there like a kebab, and they bring in an on-ball stopper. So this is a big get for them. Gilbert's a smaller guard out of Tampa, Florida. She played 2 seasons at Arizona where she averaged 4.9 points per game as a freshman, and then she saw a huge jump, a big leap, and this is what excites people, man, when you see that players making strides to get better. In year 2, she jumped up to 15.1 points per game, and she had a total of 88 assists during her 2 seasons in Arizona. She scored over 20 points in 6 games during her sophomore year, and she earned Pac-12 Player of the Week honors as well. So we're talking about instant offense right there. Being able to play the 1 or the 2. She could play next to Laster Poa, and they're hoping that with her just level of scoring capability and progression, man, we've seen what she did in year 2, more than doubling her scoring output. If she can go out there and give the same effort to LSU, man, that is going to be huge. She was the number 31 ranked player in her class as well in 2022. And then Day Wilson, she was the 2022 ACC Freshman of the Year. We're talking about super big pedigrees right here. Now, she spent 1 season at Miami, and then she was at Duke for 2 seasons. So she's the veteran of the group. In 3 seasons, she's averaged 10.8 points per game with 300 assists and 79 steals over her career. She's also started 71 games in 3 years and played in a total of 99 games throughout her career. She had 2 productive years at Duke. She led them in assists her sophomore year, and then her freshman year, we mentioned she won ACC Freshman of the Year, averaging 12.7 points per game and 3.7 assists. So they're going to look to get her back to that level of playing elite level basketball at the guard position in conference, and they're going to try to bring the best out of the Toronto, Ontario native, man. She was the top rated Canadian guard in the class of 2021. So she comes from, she was a big steel all-Canadian player, or bio steel all-Canadian player, which is like their McDonald's All-American. So she came in decorated. She's got international experience, and that she's shown that she can really score the basketball. So 3 players that are going to provide different things. Shepherd definitely going to be the on-ball stopper, but also they're bringing in a lot of scoring to help replenish this lineup. I think they still need to add a big, but the perimeter is pretty much locked up, man. So shout out Coach Kim Mulkey adding to this group. They've added a couple combo guards, a point guard. Not sure what the rotation is going to be, man. Laster Poa did a really good job at the point guard position for this group last year. But it'll be interesting to see how they mix and match. I think Flau'jae deserves some looks at the 1 for real. If you're going to have the ball in anybody's hands, it should be her. But we'll see what LSU decides to do, the game plan, but they will not have depth problems next year. But they do need another big, because that could be an issue. Anyways, moving on, man. When we talked about quality over quantity, that's what we're looking at for Texas as well, man, because the Longhorns lost a couple players, but they've improved their roster through the portal. We gotta admit. First off, the Longhorns went and grabbed one of the most talented and just pure natural bucket getters in this class. Leading scorer for Michigan last year, Layla Falia, 16.8 points per game, 3.6 rebounds, 2 assists, and she's joining Rory Harmon, Madison Booker, and Shea Holly. Are you kidding me? And then you still got Aaliyah Moore as well as Taylor Jones in this group, man. And then you look at who else they brought in, because they could have stopped, and we talked about Falia as well in previous videos, but they just got a major boost, a big guard adding to this lineup. Just being able to score it at all three levels. We know she can shoot the three. We know she can get into the paint and finish at the cup anytime she feels like it. And we know she got the straps, man. She's going to provide a lockdown defender on that perimeter as well. And she may be tasked a few times, most nights, to guard the biggest perimeter threat on the other side. But this was a huge get, man. She got her chops. She earned her chops early as a defensive player, and her offense really, really took off this past season, man. Another major signing for them was Kyla Odecree. Now, we know there was some worry. There were some big question marks around that front court and the depth, man, because of the departures of 6'2" senior Deanna Gaston, 6'4" senior Khadijah Faye, and 6'4" junior Amina Muhammad, along with 6'4" sophomore Tiana Heron. We talking about a lot of size that left this roster. So bringing in Odecree really provided an immediate need to just really give them some depth in that front court, man. She's a rising junior and averaged 5 points, 4.4 rebounds, and almost a block per game. She only played 16 minutes per game last season, so, she's a little raw still. We're still trying to figure out. I mean, at this point in her career, I'm not gonna say she's raw, but she knows her role and she plays it well. You know what I'm saying? She's coming in there to provide relief and some quality minutes, and I think she will match up with the backup bigs really well on the opposing side, man. But I love the depth that she provides. She started 21 of 31 games for Miami last season, man, and they had guards struggling to get her the rock as well. But just her, she's gonna have to come in there, finish some easy layups, get rebounds, get some putbacks, run the floor, and block some shots. You know what I'm saying? So this was huge for Texas, just shoring up that front court, man. Trying to shore up that front court and really provide depth, man, because they're going to be loaded in the backcourt. That perimeter threat is going to be insane. So landing a 6'6" forward definitely helps them ease the mind in that front court, man. But I love what Texas is doing. We could easily say the Longhorns are a top 3, top 4 team as well, man. They're definitely going to be in the running. You think of the strides that Madison Booker took last year, man, incredible. Roy Harmon goes down with an ACL, and I'm thinking that's the one player they can't lose. Their All-American point guard. And look what happens, man. Booker turns into the lead playmaker. They make a run through the Big 12, run through in the NCAA tournament, and hey, the rest is history. Now, for her, the next development in her game, man, is just going to continue to just harness that skill set, extend her range. She can shoot the three, but shoot the three a little better, and just continue to improve on the decision making. But it won't all be on her hands now, man. They've got a very talented duo coming back, I should say, with Rory Harmon. We mentioned Holly. We mentioned Falia. It's just Texas, man. They gonna be rolling, so it's a loaded group. And I'm excited to see them, man. I think they will be one of the top teams in the nation. And then rounding out our group, man, we got to talk about the Maryland Terps, man. They've been maybe the most active team in the country in that portal, snagging players, man. Are you kidding me? I mean, they done reloaded, they done replaced their whole roster, y'all. Maryland has added 6 players through the transfer portal. One of the big names that really had some eyes popping was Amari DeBerry, the Yukon forward, who decided to take her 6'6" talents to Maryland, man. Now, she never really established herself as a prominent player in her couple of seasons at Yukon, bro, to be honest with you. She never really got the minutes or lived up to the potential that we thought we were seeing from her, that we would see from her. Being a 5-star recruit, being a McDonald's All-American, being a top 20 ranked player, and also winning gold medals overseas. We thought, you know, she would be able to, just the versatility and the upside, you know what I'm saying, what Gino Auriemma usually does with those versatile forwards. We just never really saw her get consistent playing time, and then she also had injuries as well, so it just never really worked out. I think a fresh start was really good for her, though, to be honest with you, man. But they also have Ali Kubek, Emma Chardon, Maya Toure, who we talked about in my previous video, and Brianna Williams in this front court. Some of the other transfers, Kayleen Smickle, Sarah Tebazu, Toure, who we mentioned, and big time get Sailor Poffenbarger. She averaged a double-double last season, man. 10 points and 11.2 rebounds per game. Former top 30 recruit, so that's huge, man. Just the versatility she's going to bring, size on the glass, man. Maryland did a really good job of addressing some huge needs, and they're going to have a really deep front court next season, man. So I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to see what DeBerry does, if they can actually unlock her talent. And Toure's an exciting player as well. Like, Maryland really did their big one in the recruiting process, man. They've got some versatile wings. They've got some bigs that can really attack the cup and spread the floor a little bit and really eat up that glass. They've got some guards coming in that are experienced. They've got some high upside, some high ceiling players. If they can really unlock the full potential of this roster, y'all better watch out for them Terps. I'm telling you right now. But y'all holler at your boy. Let me know how y'all feel about all the latest and the greatest. That's a wrap for us. Until next time, I'm Brandon Blakeney, a.k.a. Brandon Lee TV. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. All right, we out.